goals in MLS. The MLS MVP 2 times and a title winner with KC back in 2000. Also played for the U.S. team from 96 to 01. Had one amazing goal against Brazil in the Gold Cup to help the Americans knock off the Brazilian squad back in 1998. It's his first stint here with St. Louis. He coached at Sacramento in USL, won a title in 2014. Actually has a number of players on this team now, 3 different players in fact, we will get into that he's brought over from Sacramento as they try to rebuild this thing here in St. Louis.
Yeah, spent a little time under the tutelage of Preki as well, and you know he's not afraid to speak his voice or speak his opinion and let you know exactly how he feels and what they're going to do. He's going to play his game. He's going to throw numbers forward. He's going to bring guys up. He likes to do a lot of stuff on the counter and, like I said, throw numbers forward. But what he's got to be careful of, as I mentioned before, is that inconsistency bug. He's got very talented teams, but a lot of times they'll come out flat, have to play from behind. That's not what he wants to do. They got to come out quick, come out strong, and show Rochester they're here tonight.
Both these teams solid in the back. St. Louis only conceding 18 goals a year, Rochester 15th. That's tied for second best in the East for Rochester as we are now underway at Toyota Stadium. And the Mercy injury report, it's time now for the Mercy Sports Medicine injury report. Wes Sharpie, as I mentioned, out 2 to 4 weeks with MCL sprain. Big blow because he leads this team in minutes played right now, the second-year stud for St. Louis. Also, Milan Petosevic has been out for most of the year, but Ivan Mirkovic is back and available in the 18. The captain has not played since the second game of this season.
And Coach mentioned they're looking to get some minutes in him and get him back on the field. It'd be nice to have him for a full 90, but you're going to have to ease someone like that back into the rotation and make sure that you don't re-injure something right away. You know, in the back line for St. Louis, they're talented. You know, they've got guys that can replace. You know, Preki runs a nice system back there. Conrad Pleva is very talented. He's more than capable of doing the job. And you've got a lot of players that you'll see from the central midfield and from the back line that'll move up and back. Guzman will come out of the back and move into the midfield. Tyler David will move from the center mid to the outside. They'll move him up top. So he's got a lot of good chess pieces that he can move around the board strategically to make sure that he's giving his opponents a rough time.
And as you just mentioned, Tyler David there called for a little bit of a handball, trying to press the ball and win it back for St. Louis early in the game. There's Tomas Gomez, as we mentioned before. Gomez, Mexican-born, Georgetown product, though. He's had quite a career, as you already mentioned. USL Golden Glove winner last year, the lowest goals against average, .69. Impressive. And again, he anchors a very solid defense.
He's a great goalkeeper. He really is. Great leaping ability. Leadership. Extremely vocal. The back line knows he's there, and that always helps.
Played over the top, tried to be knocked down by Sofian Turgu, but nobody could jump on it there.
You mentioned Gomez's pass in college at Georgetown. 81 appearances, 36 shutouts.
Is that good?
I don't care if you're playing Sunday League with makeshift jerseys. That is an impressive stat, ladies and gentlemen.
Johan Grove tried to flick on to Turgu, but Turgu's going to be called for the foul. The man manning the midfield in terms of the officiating duties, Dule Drasovic, is in the middle. He calls a foul, his second whistle blown so far this game, just over 2 minutes in. Adam Grimm was getting his third start consecutively over Davala Goric. Goric is a guy that's had success in this league in the past, but Preki opting to go with Grimwis. Do you agree with that move?
Yeah, it's a hard one because, as you mentioned, Goric just so much capability and so much experience from the past. But, you know, Grinwis has been hot as of late. USL Save of the Week, also Save of the Week nominee 2 or 3 more times. They're both 2 very talented goalkeepers, but I think you stay with the hot hand. And although St. Louis hasn't exactly had the W's popping up on the board, Grinwis has definitely showed up and proven that he deserves to be back there.
Jordan Dover with a throw-in, trying to connect a little bit here with Ryan James. Goes off James. Off St. Louis, though, and stays in Rochester's hands. Dover looking in for Grove. Grove tries to get the flick on. Doesn't really work, but it'll stay with the team in white. James tried to plant, slipped on the turf, and it's going to be a turnover. Guzman looking to get up to Howe. Howe looking for David. David, a little deflection out of bounds. Still with St. Louis as they play it back to Grimwis.
I'll be really interested to see exactly what role Octavio Guzman's going to be playing from a tactical standpoint tonight. put in an absolutely amazing shift, 90 minutes plus, for Chicago Fire in the U.S. Open Cup game. Unfortunately, St. Louis coming on the short end of that stick, but his ability to get up and down the field, moving into the middle of the park. You can see him right now already starting moving balls outside. He can spray balls all over the field, excellent with both feet, and he's really got excellent vision.
With that U.S. Open Cup game, St. Louis has actually lost 4 straight games. They've not scored a goal since June 2nd. They are really trying to get things going. When you talk to their staff, finding consistency and finding a way to put the ball in the back of the net is really a key to this team and where their Achilles heel has been to this point.
You said it right there, consistency. It's nice to see in the opening 5 minutes here, they're pinging the ball around the park a little bit. A lot of times, as I mentioned at the start of our broadcast, you'll see them behind the 8 ball kind of chasing down. They have great capability to be able to move the ball around the field and to push numbers up like they're doing right now, but sometimes they're just not really executing for the full 90 minutes. And Precky's talked to us about that before, how he just wants to see his team not just go through the repetitions, don't go through the motion, go out there, go with intent, go for a reason, and make sure that you're doing something day in, day out, as opposed to just what you're doing on the practice field.
Stoikov coming in late, getting a little bit of Jordan Dover. That'll lead to a Rochester free kick.
Not exactly sure what Precky's arguing with there.
I'm guessing he disagrees with the call. He's saying that he kicked, it looks like he's saying he kicked his leg into the oncoming Stoikov, but that was it seemed like a bit of an easy call. Seemed like he was in a little late.
Yeah, I don't think Stoikov had any malintent there, just going for the ball. The motion's getting a little high. Early goings of the game here.
Both teams need to win. I just mentioned St. Louis's struggles, but Rochester's lost 2 straight. That's their last loss 2 weeks ago, snapped an 8-game unbeaten run, but here they come. Johan Grove gets it on his right, blocked down by Pleva, and he just clears his lines. Gillespie giving a little bit of chase and got to force Gomez to handle the ball well out of his goal and eventually just get it out touch. A little nervy.
See the pace there, Christian Valesky. Not sure I agree with that that throw coming in, but see him getting in behind the back line. Look for that all night long. Maybe a little bit more angled into the channel for him, but again, he's got a big engine up top and he'll chase you down.
Stoikov again applying a little bit of pressure. Max Bierman here on the left side as well, closing down Dover. Right into the chest of Howe. Howe tries to play to Valesky's feet, but it's intercepted.
Keep an eye on Stoikov as well. It's the second time in the first 7 minutes. You know, one they called that foul a minute ago, another one coming in a little bit late. Fortunately, double yellow sent off in the U.S. Open Cup match. He's got to keep his head on his shoulders, make sure he's got the right intent going into these tackles. Don't just throw your body at something. Sometimes it's better to just stand your ground, stand up, push the play back. Don't need to leave your feet every single time.
Looked long and a little bit of contact. We're going to call a foul on Sheldon, I believe. Coming up from the right side. Again, Sheldon in for Wes Sharpie. Sharpie out 2 to 4 weeks, an MCL sprain. Something that Precky, I'm sure, is not happy to see. Team leader in minutes played. He's played every game to this point, started every game to that point.
Sharpie's very talented. You can move him into the middle and out of the back as well.
Ties
on the
for
right
league
side.
and assists too. 2 assists he creates from that right back spot.
He's extremely talented. Play him in the center of the park, play him outside winger. Still very young. Again, another extremely vocal player. But again, St. Louis has the talent to do what they're doing right now, to be able to play the system that they've got. Precky's got it in place to be able to rotate guys in, rotate them out, and not just center back for center back, but he'll pull his right back and throw him in the center of the park. And you know, he'll throw Tyler David at left back. Maybe not necessarily that analogy, but you know, he's got the talent, and he'll move him around the park. He's got no problem whatsoever with confidence.
What's it like to play in that system where it can be, you know, a bit of a, you know, push and pull? You're moving pieces around, trying to see what's like as a player to play in that type of system.
Interestingly enough, growing up as a center back, I actually started off in the midfield, and when I ended up going over to Germany, they experimented with me on the outside, and both at left back and outside left on the wing. And it's interesting. I think initially, from a confidence standpoint, you start to question yourself a little bit. You've trained so hard for so long, and you're pushing into the center back, and you're going, okay, wait, what am I doing out here on the left? Oh, am I going to lose my spot or this, that, and the other? But you're being put there as a compliment. You're being put there for a reason. You've acquired all the skills and capability that the coach feels comfortable enough to put you there, to say, hey, you know what, we're going to shift you outside. It's nothing against you. You're going to help the boys out tonight. Or, hey, you know what, unfortunately, so-and-so went down with an injury. We have the or we know that you have the capability and we have the confidence in you that we can move you outside and be able to continue the role that we need to be done.
Versatility is key in any profession, particularly on the soccer pitch, as you saw. Tough collision there. Stoikov goes in hard, but he got all ball, said the official, and they played on. It's been batted around in midfield here. Nobody really able to settle down for the last 45 seconds or so. Tyler David gets on the ball now and trying to play it back to Amir Alihadzic. He looks wide for Howe, excuse me.
Nice to see St. Louis moving the ball around. I'll be curious to see how Rochester responds. We talked at the beginning of the broadcast, 8-game unbeaten streak to start, or excuse me, 8-match unbeaten streak to start the season. Very consistent, very well, put some nice numbers up on the board, and they've struggled as of late. Lost their last 2 games, went down to first OCB, followed by Charlotte Independence, and they've come out, they've been flat, had some nice run of spells between the game, but first 10 minutes here, you can see it's been all St. Louis so far.
And that Charlotte game too, I mean, it took till the 65th minute when Fall Wall, who's their leading scorer, scored a penalty to really wake those guys up. Wall not in the lineup right now, and that last 25 minutes was quite nervy for Charlotte as they held on at home. With 8 changes, is that a coach looking for something, looking for a little bit of spark coming off a lackluster 65 minutes to start that game?
It could be a combination of that, maybe a little bit of an injury bug stepping in as well. But yeah, I think more so a spark to the guys. You know, they started off so quick and so hot and just moving everybody around. You got to wonder what's going on behind closed doors in the training pitch and in that locker room. I doubt there's any separation or divide of sorts, but again, you're starting to near the dog days where you got to put in a little bit more effort and grind a little bit deeper, and you'd like to be able to do that where you've got some sort of uniformity in your performances day in and day out.
So Ali Hadzi tried to play it over the top to Sheldon there, just ran out of room. St. Louis, Matt Sheldon trying to get ahead from his right back position. Here at Toyota Stadium, 0-0 as we cross the 11th minute. Former professional in Europe and here in the States, Devin Kerr alongside Dallin Cuff. Big game for you folks here. Both these teams outside the playoff picture, but again, only 13 games played. They have 2 and 3 games in hand on teams above them. So if they can get things turned around, they have ample room to change their season. As Cochran tries to play it over to play, but just kind of get rid of it quick with Grove giving it some pressure. Able to skip its way to Grinless. How much do players look at that early in the season? When you've got 2 and 3 games in hand on teams above you, is that a buoying factor? Is that a confidence building factor that we're not really where we are right now on the table, or you are what your record says?
Yeah, it's almost it is what you make of it, if you will. Some teams will approach it, and players will approach it as, oh, you know what, we're okay. We've got 2-3 games. We can catch up. I'm more on the sense of, yeah, don't get me wrong, you have 2 or 3 games, but you still got to win. You still got to put numbers up on the board. So if you're sitting 6 points back with 3 in hand, in theory, you could be 3 up after those 3 games. But guess what? You could also be 12 back.
You got to get the results.
You got to get the results, exactly. So you got 1 foot in front of the other. Don't look that far down the road. Look at this 5 minutes and then that 10 minutes, and look for this 90-minute stretch. You don't want to look at what you're going to be doing in October and November, at least at this point in time.
Christian Valesky draws the foul again. Tied for the team lead with 4 goals here, along with Jose Angulo. Angulo on the bench right now. Started last match. Did not start this one in the 18 though. Grove tries to settle. He's on it, lays it out there for Raymond Lee, eventually arriving. Lee looking for the cross, playing the back post, and Grimm was able to cover it up. Ryan James, who's 7 there, flying in your picture, was on the run in the back post, and back comes Stoikov the other way. Stoikov looks it up for David. David takes a little bit of a sloppy touch and almost turns it over. He's back on the ball. Octavio Guzman. Head is up. Switches the play. Howe tries to bring it down. Cannot, but it is back only to A.J. Cochran. Valesky trying to run it down. Oh, a little bit of a foul there on Dover. Valesky doesn't like it, but looked like contact initially.
From arm's length. From arm's length, looked like a little bit of contact. See Christian Valesky maybe saying he dove a little bit, but Valesky coming through. Trying to reach around the backside there, just clips his ankle. Not sure what Valesky's arguing about, definitely no dive. A little frustration in that forward's head running around early on, but.
I mean, did you ever foul anybody?
Never,
Exactly.
It was never my fault.
It's usually how it works out.
Referee, it wasn't me.
Wasn't me. Tell him, Shaggy. Guzman goes up, gets ahead on it, a little bit of a foot race, and Sheldon's gonna win it. Tries to cut back on Lee. Lee picks his pocket. That'll go off Sheldon. Bernardo Forbes gets a touch, the captain. Whoa, Sheldon is right through the back of Turgu. Easy call there, setting up a chance now to play one into the box.
The defender, maybe Matt Sheldon, trying to make his presence known a little bit in the ongoings.
Could pay the price for that, though, as you have your first kind of free kick that could be in a dangerous area as Forbes stands over, gets ready to whip it in. Forbes floats it into the 6-yard box. Brought down. And the flag is up. Offsides there for Joe Farrell. And just a reminder, folks, as we're at Toyota Stadium, be sure to visit one of the 7 local St. Louis area Toyota dealers. Check them out, one of the 7 local St. Louis Toyota dealers.
Joe Farrell with a clever little run to the back post there. Unfortunately, the flick on knocked him offside. But I like it. I like the ball served in. Very pretty. Maybe it'll give it a little boost to this Rochester team to get going. A little flat here in the early moments.
We touched on Farrell there for a second. As Grimwis again under pressure. Whoa, Crow, second time, almost has got there now. Forces a turnover. Good pressure from the center forward. But Gomez is a great goalie, but Joe Farrell's a fantastic center back. He was nominated for Rookie of the Year last year, was a Team Defensive Player of the Year, and also All-USL second team last year as a rookie. Really solid player, and Ryan Felix, another guy next to him. But both those guys have started almost every game this year, so a solid spine in the back there for Rochester.
Yeah, speaking of spines, my coaches, as I was coming up, would always say you're throwing knots into my spine because I was such an offensive-minded center back. Growing up as a central midfielder and an outside midfielder, it was hard for them to deal with me, moving then into the back line. Every free kick, every chance I could get, trying to explode out of the back. And just Farrell reminds me a little bit of that. You'll see him, he's got that big frame, 6'2", coming out of the back. He'll get on the end of those set pieces. He likes to get up into the air and win the balls. He uses his body very well. And also watch him coming out of the back. Nice little combination play with the midfield. Very clever player.
Third in the team last year with 5 goals for Rochester. So to your point, he'll get up there and he can put it in the back of the net. He has a nose for the goal. Nice touch pass played on, but just out of the reach of Howe. As Bierman tried to play him through. There's Bob Lilly. Again, his second stint here with Rochester. They won the title back in 2015. Frankie won it with Sacramento in 2014. So these coaches have had success in this league. Played up to Grove, a little bit heavy on his touch, but able to maintain possession. Forbes skips it over to Dover. Dover looking for Turgu to make the run through the channel. Couldn't get rid of it. Held onto it a little too long. In comes James to maintain possession.
Solid defending there by Matt Bierman. Pushing the Rhinos back into their own third. Very well done. See Valesky putting in a nice little shift up top too. Again, I mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast, he's a little bit linear at times. He tends to be a little flat. You'll see that he really does need to make sure that he's getting the ball in open space and that ball pushed into the channel. But make no mistake about it, on the defensive side of the ball, he's got a big motor and he will work as hard as possible for all his boys out on the field.
Grove trying to hold it up again, does not. Easy turnover. Ball played long, looking for Valesky. Patted down, and James is on it. Eli Hodzic. Pleva played against his former team last week, New York Red Bulls. Pleva won a title with them last year. Played a lot of minutes, but also had some health injuries. Had a stroke through the season. Was able to come back and play and start in all their playoff games. Make an impact as they made a run to the championship. To the title, I should say.
He's an impressive young man back there, trained in Poland for a little while. Good player to help anchor this back line. This is a gentleman. I want to see what he's going to do tonight. Ryan Howe. Haven't seen much of him this season, kind of in and out of the squad. Got him over there on the left side.
Howe's 5th game played, to your point. Chance to make a bit of a mark here for Precky's crew as Gillespie's able to knot it down and Howell's on it.
And you'll see with St. Louis, we talk about the versatility. And Precky's got his system and to move guys around, but you'll see a lot of usual suspects on the field. Jodzic, Stoikov, Plave on the back. You've got A.J. Cochran as well floating around. And in the early moments, you've seen some of those guys as the balls come out, both Howe going forward and coming back. They've had a few words at the end of the play like, hey, gotta make sure we're all on the same page here.
Cochran finds David in a little pocket of space to Bierman. Good possession spell here for St. Louis as they get Bierman trying to run onto it. Can't quite control it. Battling. Ball stays. No, it does not stay in play. It is out for a goal kick. As Todd Pratzner putting in a tough battle there with Bierman on the end line.
Pratzner, former Xavier player, doing a good job working back. Excellent combination play. St. Louis coming up the left side of the field. Rochester doing a good job pinning him down in the corner, working that ball in for a goal kick.
They like his leadership, Pratzner. He was part of the Philadelphia Union Academy growing up, captained a lot of those youth teams before heading off to Xavier. Hopeful long ball. It's going to stay in play. Playable will lay it back to Grimwis. He'll take it deep.
The Union were big on Pratzner. At one point, he's 17 years old, making an appearance with the reserve team. It's not too shabby.
It's pretty good. Ball laid out to Dover. That's pretty good. He's in space. Got his head up. Tried to flick it into Groff. Didn't work. Ryan James is on it. Pratzner as they play it back. Farrell, big switch. Gets it out to Lee. Turgu tries to find Groff. Does not. St. Louis back on the ball.
St. Louis has got to be careful of. You're seeing a little bit right there as their center mid getting a little flat.
Forbes gets a turnover, looks up to Groff. Groff gets a foot on it. Grinwis down to his right. The first time Grinwis has been tested. Mentioned Grinwis' 3rd straight start. He did spill one last week, which resulted in the only goal in the Red Bulls. It was a free kick. It was a little bit of a tough save, but he laid it out there, and Brandon Allen pounced. Easy goal. And that would hold that goal with about 70 minutes to go in that game. Held as your final 1-0 as the Red Bull 2-1 at home.
Yeah, very uncharacteristic of a Grinwis to give up something like that. Extremely talented goalkeeper, and you know what? We are human. We all make mistakes. I hope that when you're standing there in the back line in the center mid, when that ball's coming backwards, you're hoping that Grinwis, on a regular basis, someone like that is there to go up and win that ball for you. And you know what? Onward and upward. He's a good professional. He'll pick his head up. He'll be good.
Fortunately for keepers, when you make a mistake, it's one that everybody seems to remember. The other 10 guys in the field can get away with a few more.
Yeah, they've got that burden to bear, much like a kicker from the NFL teams.
Absolutely.
Nothing right, always something wrong.
Guzman stands over the ball, whips it in. Groff gets his head to it first. Played back in. And she chested down and cleared out. Jodzic looks long for Valesky, but Gomez off his line and hauls it in. Tyler David pulled down there. Ryan Felix says he was pulling me, but official says the other way, that David got his arm pulled down. It'll be a St. Louis kick.
Jurasevich wasn't having any of that. It's a couple times now Tyler David done a good job going up, winning the ball first team. Using that body of his to shield everybody off.
Tyler David, local product, St. Louis graduate, 76 pick of Vancouver back in 2016. It's a lot of time for this Precky squad. He's one of his favorites. 13th game played out of 14.
again, you'll see him used everywhere. I've seen him holding midfielder, seen him outside on the wing, playing the 9 role, playing the 10 role. He likes to move him all over the park. He's got confidence in the young man.
Ali Hadzic, Amir Ali Hadzic is down, writhing in pain, grabbing his left shoulder. As he gets some attention on the field. What do you think needs to happen in this game as they attend to Ali Hadzic? We hope he's okay and can continue on. Obviously, it would be a big blow if they had to make a first-half substitution, as we'll take another look at Ali Hadzic. Diving header. Those things are concerning anytime it's no contact, but as I see, they're working on the shoulder.
I'll tell you what, man, 26th minute of the game. So far, I like what St. Louis is doing. Moving the ball pretty decently so far. Definitely utilizing the left side of the field a little bit more than the right. Like to see Ryan Howe get a little bit more incorporated in that ball movement coming around the outside. I think Ali Hadzic in the middle has done well. Guzman's done well. Christian Valesky needs a little bit of help up top. He is running solo, but still having a strike partner, someone to come in behind him would be nice. And from Rochester, again, we talked about consistency. You're just not really seeing much creativity from them. You're kind of a lot of balls, very direct, and nothing really on the end of it. And St. Louis has no problem taking it and say thank you very much and starting over.
We'll see if Ali Hadzic can continue. He gives a thumbs up, so probably going to give it another go, but we'll see. As for now, they'll be down to 10 men for at least a few seconds here.
That would be a massive blow if that young man had to come off the field. Does an excellent job holding down the middle, great vision. Saw a second ago, not afraid to take a look up and take that chance, knock that 40, 50-yard ball across the field. He's got the capability to do so.
Born in Bosnia-Herzegovina, but actually lived in St. Louis, a local kid, ended up going to Nebraska, Omaha. He was drafted by Seattle in the 3rd round, Seattle Sounders in 2016, MLS Super Draft. Ended up playing for S2 later that year before matriculating here to St. Louis, his hometown. Back underway here, 27th minute, Devin Kerr, Dallin Cuff, Toyota Stadium in St. Louis, hosting Rochester. Both these teams in need of a win, in need of some goals and some confidence, as they've only played 13 games so far. They have games in hand as they both sit outside the playoff picture. Big opportunity for them to turn their season around, get going, and get up that table. Conrad Pleva looking for Octavio Guzman. Tried to combine there with Sheldon, didn't work out too well, and turned over. Ali Hadzic is back on the pitch and wanted the ball. That's a good sign. How much does that affect you with an upper arm, shoulder injury in a match?
Initially, right off the bat, right now, he's probably at the forefront of his mind, thinking, wow, this really hurts. But you know, your mind gets right back in the swing of things real quick. Mentally, this game really takes a toll on you, and a lot of times, more so than physically, you tend to wander and shift in and out of the game, and you'll start to forget all the physical aspects and demands that it takes on your body over time. You'll see him settle down quite rapidly.
Lesky tried to play it quickly. Looked like he got clipped in the back. No call.
Surprised Jurasevich didn't step in there. You saw him say play on, but not really sure what they were playing on too. No advantage, really.
Dover, flicks it on. And it's out of bounds, though. Stefan Jafrager tried to hold it. Jafrager hasn't really had many opportunities to even have a touch today, but couldn't keep it in. Dartmouth product. Attempted flick on there by Valesky, didn't work. Handed off to James. James got some runners, plays it in, but intercepted. But not cleared entirely as Rochester was able to hold it in. Raymond Lee, pressure by Stoikov. That's what Rochester needs to do, just possess the ball a little bit more if they struggle with a little bit of rhythm.
Yeah, I was just going to say to you that my concern from Rochester would be the fact that we just said Forbes and Dover and Lee in the same sentence, and it's probably the first or second time they've been mentioned all match. You know, you're 30 minutes into a game. Kennardo Forbes, who runs the center of the field for you, hasn't really touched the ball much. Nice little 5-hole meg a second ago. And, you know, Jordan Dover doing a great job for most of the season getting up and down the field, using the pace, whipping a good ball in. But again, you've only mentioned his name once in the first 30 minutes. I'm sure Lily in the back's having a couple choice words for those guys, telling them to get on the high horse and get moving.
St. Louligans were just pictured there, appreciating the fact that Forbes and Lee aren't getting moving. As St. Louis has controlled most of this game, but still nothing to show for it. 0-0. There's your man Forbes. He sprays it out to Dover. Dover to James. Recycled to Dover again, looking for DeFrager, who makes the run. James makes the run. He finds James, tries to flick it back, couldn't get enough on it. Great job by A.J. Cochran to get on the ground and clear it out. Great hustle by Bierman, and Bierman's hurt, but took a little bit of a cleat there. He's still down. Jurasevich has not stopped the game, and now DeFrager does the sportsman move and plays it out. Let's take a look at what happened to Bierman. There's a little bit of a fracas in the middle, a lot of hustle as he goes in headlong at this ball. Oh. Looks like he took a cleat right into his body. Preki not happy about that at all. Should that have been a foul? Was that just a 50-50 ball, two players playing hard?
I think that's a hard one to call. That's a 50. I mean, you see German going to ground early, both of them very close. I mean, it is a little bit late, but
that trail leg
that's a
really
difficult one, yeah.
Nailed the inside of Bierman's leg there as he gets some attention. Second player down for St. Louis in a matter of minutes here. Mirali Hadzic was down before with a little bit of a shoulder injury, upper arm injury, I'll say. Now Bierman down.
One thing, talk about talent and the versatility of St. Louis, one thing that they tend to steer towards from an unfortunate standpoint is they'll move the ball out of the back pretty well. They can get up and down the sides pretty well, but there really is a disconnect a lot of time between the central midfield and their boys up top. You'll see Valesky, we've seen so far, kind of chasing in behind. What you haven't seen a lot of is a lot of balls coming into Stoikov, coming up, and then bringing it back again. You know, I understand that I've mentioned Valesky is linear and you want to put those balls into channels, but at the same time, from a tactical standpoint, you got to keep Rochester guessing. They're 33 minutes in, haven't really had a boatload of success up top. Start using that point man to your advantage. Knock a ball in, lay it off, let Stoikov come around, let Ali Hadzic come in.
And there's a young lady in a full Neymar fit. I like that. As to your point, though, they lack a Neymar creativity to their game at some points. Only 26, should be tied for 26 in the league. Only 13 goals St. Louis has scored this year, but you know, their staff doesn't shy away from it. They know they need to find the ball, find a way to get it in the back of the net, and be more consistent and clinical in that final third. And that is going to be the difference here. They have a good defense. They're one of the top 5 in the league in terms of goals allowed, but you got to be able to put the ball in the net.
Yeah, and one person who's done a good job for them all season long, and Gula, who's not playing tonight.
Guzman plays it out to David. David's got a little bit of room, and he way overhits his cross. Out of play.
You know, Jose Angulo not playing this evening. Preki opting to go a different direction. He does a good job, almost sucking into a 10 roll, dropping back, working in and out of spaces, moving the ball outside. And I really like it when they do play in that fashion, because you see the likes of Guzman coming down the right, David coming down the left, whipping those balls in that we just see. But instead, so far in the opening 30, 35 minutes, you're seeing, for the most part, long ball knocked over the top. Tomas has no problem coming out from the pipe saying, hey, I'll take that, thank you very much.
Farrell lays it back to Felix. Felix looking for Lee. Guzman pressures hard, but Lee does well to turn away from it. but then just easily given away to Sheldon. Sheldon continues his run, slips, but it's going to get to Valesky, to Bierman, to Howe. Howe lays it in and right to the hands of Gomez.
Ryan Howe, not a bad idea, just maybe not the best execution. He got stuck up in his mind, am I going to knock this ball in, am I going to go for it? Thought he was getting a little bit cheeky trying to pick Gomez's pocket on the back post there. Ends up just serving a lackadaisical ball.
Forbes on it in the midfield, to Dover, to Frager, clever flick. Back to Forbes. To James. He's got room, he finds Groff out wide. He lets it go for Lee. Lee clips it in, it goes off Guzman, and it'll be our first corner of the match.
It's better from Rochester. Oh, Groff, he's got to demand that ball, though. You see him start to chase towards the end line. Excuse me, the sideline. You got Terguan on the left side as well. Ask for that ball back. No one's standing at the top of the box with you. Get it back, have a rip.
Forbes, the captain, looks to play it in. Asks for somebody to come short. Turgo goes the other way. He floats it in with the in-swinger. Able to lay down. Gets a good wood on it over the top. Was Farrell. We talked about it earlier. The defender loves to get forward. 5 goals last year, 3rd of the team. You were pointing it out early in the match. Had the room off his chest, just couldn't keep it down.
Yeah, my boy Joe Farrell doing a good job adjusting his body. Watch him take it down off his chest. Trying to come over the top with a full volley. Very ingenious down there inside the 6-yard box. Well played.
Would have been a heck of a finish for anybody, especially a central defender, but we've already talked about how talented Farrell is. No surprise there. It's Rochester growing to this game. Forbes running away from Guzman, looking for Grove. He's got it to Grove. Gets it on his left, shoots. Gridwis just able to close his legs in time and make the save. Rochester starting to turn the screws a bit.
Yeah, you see things starting to click a little bit more. Confidence is starting to build. St. Louis on their heels coming down the pitch. Well done by Gruff, cutting the ball back. Grin was almost surprised that it didn't squeak through. Excellent save.
Looking long, cleared out though. Cochran to Howe. Gillespie's able to settle. Bierman's pass just too easy. Forbes picks it off to Frager on it again. Good job by Ali Hadzic to battle with the Frager and earn the foul. Good restraint. Ali Hadzic looked like he wanted to throw a little bow, but then pulled up and just stepped back. Very calm head prevailed.
We talked about that injured shoulder. Didn't look too bad there.
Yeah, he looked all right. Maybe not bow. He wanted to shove it. Let's say that.
Yeah, he was ready to reload.
Ali Hadzic on the ball again. Looking long. Just too much on it for Guzman, and it will roll over the end line.
See Rochester moving the ball down. Gruff doing a good job cutting back with his right, putting it on his left. Grin was sliding across the box, was very lucky that didn't squeak through. Did a good job centering his body, getting over the ball. For you kids at home, it's good goalkeeping. Always keep it in front of you. Well done.
What has Rochester done differently in the last 7 or 8 minutes to really create some chances and be dangerous?
Yeah, you've seen Bernardo Forbes start to get involved a little bit. Only took him about 35 minutes, but he decided to get off the bus and start enjoying this beautiful weather and game that we got going on.
See him right there.
Yep, stepping up. You got to get the more of the ball at his feet. He really makes this team go. He is the engine. Seen a lot more of that young man. Gruff up top, doing a good job.
Forbes looks across for Dover and just out of reach for him.
There's one more player we've seen a lot more of as well, Jordan Dover. I mean, literally almost on cue after referencing all 3 names. All three of them, have kind of woken up. Seen a lot more combination play. Johan doing a good job up top, holding the ball, playing it off to his constituents, coming around the outside. Much more offensive minded from Rochester in the past few minutes.
Frager goes in a little late, but Cochran's able to get over. Gomez up, way off his line. A little sweeper keeper to clear it out. Cochran pings it out to Sheldon. Sheldon shields the ball well and takes the foul from Lee.
Jay Cochran not getting any confidence with that 30-yard ball to his chest across the field. He's got to be real careful he doesn't hang his defender out to dry.
Guzman's might get there really close, and Gomez has a word for Todd Pratzner. Pratzner only his 5th game played this year, so not that much familiarity, and he just didn't get much on the header and almost left it open for David.
Yeah, Pratzner, if you're going to go with that, you got to go strong with confidence and make sure that gets to your goalkeeper right away. Tyler David recognizing the goalkeeper and the defender were not on the same page, doing a good job, picking his pocket almost.
Lee finds the feet of Grove. Forbes tried to play through Lee, but not going to come off. Forbes loses it in the middle. Nice touch by Guzman. Finds Bierman, who's able to turn into space. Lays it up for Howe. Dover closing hard. Good close and cover by Dovers. Plays it out, but quickly back into play by Bierman. Ali Hadzic to Stoikov in space. Stoikov looked for Bierman making a run in behind. Did not work. And DeFrager's on it. Nice touch by him. Now he's got Green in front of him. Grove making the run down the middle. Still DeFrager. Lays it off for Grove. Takes him away from goal just a bit. His touch takes him further. Looking for some help. They double him in the corner. Trying to play for the corner, did not work.
A little bit of miscommunication between Johan and DeFrager up there. You can see doing a good job cutting in, bringing the ball across. Gruff's got to have a little bit more direction with his run, trying to make that cutting run to the corner flag. He's got to go with pace to open that space up much faster.
Ali Hodgins sprays it out. Valesky running away. It's a little bit of a hold, no call. Turgu back on the ball. Bierman onto it, able to play it forward to Valesky. Stoikov. Back to Ali Hadzic. David, heavy touch. Picked off, and Forbes is trying to get on it, but nice job by play, but a step up. Cochran retreats and keeps it in the Rochester half of the field. A little bit of space there for Guzman, but he couldn't settle it down. Pinged out wide by Forbes to Dover. Made a living on this right side, working on Howe, able to get some room. Tries the cross, just a bit over hit. Turgu is going to chase it down though, it's not going to go out. Back to Forbes. Forbes skips past Ali Hadzic, no call, and there comes the whistle. Thought that was a bit blatant and I was waiting for it.
See Rochester moving the ball a little bit better. Canardo Forbes starting to dance a little bit, gets around the first one. Guzman stepping in.
Professional foul, is that a yellow in your mind?
A little bit weak in my opinion, but I have been known, to be wrong. Being that I play at center back. It's never my fault, never a foul.
Forbes leads the team in assists, 3 on the year. Last year played every match for this team. As you mentioned, he is the heart and soul, the engine of their midfield and their captain. He will stand over the ball. Farrell again on the back post, 15. Had an opportunity last time. Off his chest. Forbes whips it in with pace, and Gridwis gets his hand to it.
Unfortunately, everybody at home can't see what's going on in the booth here, but I just said he's going to hit it. You can see Canardo Forbes not lacking confidence whatsoever. It's a decent little strike on the ball. Grinwis, once again, phenomenal save with his outstretched fingertips, just getting his right arm on it. Rochester trying to steal a goal at the end of the first half here.
Here's Forbes again now from the corner. He floats this outswinger to the 6-yard spot. It's bounced around, then cleared out. And we are now into the Hot Shots stoppage time. It'll be 2 minutes of stoppage time, the Hot Shots stoppage time.
That's what you want to see. Well done by Christian, holding up the ball. But when that happens, they don't need to go 40 yards back, especially in this situation, the closing points in the half. But much better, doing a good job holding the ball up, playing it back. That's where the separation I talked about, though. You can see no supporting cast from the center of the midfield stepping up to help him in that situation.
As we encroach just now 1 minute left of stoppage time, which is brought to you by Hot Shots. Be sure to visit one of 12 local Hot Shots locations after the match. Hot Shots stoppage time. As we encroach here at the end of the half, Devin Curry, I ask you, who's had the better of the first 45 minutes?
I think from a possession standpoint, you got to give it to St. Louis. We've seen a little bit more offensively from Rochester for sure. They've definitely had the better run of play in the final third. I think St. Louis has pretty much dictated and controlled pace of the game. A couple little spells by Rochester, nothing really much to write home about, but if I'm Preki, I'm going into halftime. I'm happy with my team's performance for the most part. Like to see a little bit more creativity up top. And if I'm Lily going in at halftime, I'm going to ask my boys if they're going to get off the bus.
They got off the bus around the 30th minute. Valesky wants a foul there, but in the end, the whistle will blow. And that is the end of the first 45. It's been a cagey affair, 0-0 so far here. Both these teams need a win, Devin. Will we see two teams go after it in the second half a little bit more?
I think you 100% will. You can see a little bit of explosiveness from both sides starting to come towards the end of the first half. Valesky starting to do a better job moving into space. We started to see Valesky a little bit more active towards the end of the first half. That's going to need to continue over. And the Rhinos are looking, towards the end of that first half to put slot one away. They're going to do the same thing, come out hot at the start of the second.
And we do have a substitution for you. Sebastian Dalgard is going to come in to this match and replace Amir Alihadzic. And we saw Alihadzic go down with a little bit of an arm injury, or I'll say an upper shoulder, upper body injury. I want to speculate on what it was, but he was grabbing at his shoulder. Sebastian Dalgard inserted for him. He'll make his 10th appearance of the season for Preki's crew. And we're about to get back to business here, so the halftime report is over. That was brought to you by Hollywood Casino. And here we go, the second half, two teams that need to find a way to get a win. Both these teams, the outside looking into the playoff picture, but we've mentioned it a number of times. If you're just joining us, just to reset it, they both have only played 13 games. Most of the teams above them in the standings have played 15 or even 16. So they have a number of games in hand. They have to make the most of these opportunities.
Yeah, and at St. Louis at some point in time on their end, they're going to have to step up and start slotting some W's away. Win here, loss there, tie there. They're very up and down. Rochester, on the other hand, proving in their first 8 games they can come out. They know what it takes to get it done, to get the W, get the 3 points. Again, both teams needing the 3 points to start slowly working their way back into the playoff picture.
As we're underway here in the second half, St. Louis, to your point, has lost 3 straight league games, 4 straight when you include that U.S. Open Cup loss to the Fire. Rochester has lost back-to-back games for the first time this season as Matt Sheldon has the ball and tries to make a move. Dalgard comes right into the game, has the ball at his feet, trying to skip around some defenders. Doesn't work. Joe Farrell picks it up. Farrell gets his head up, tries to find Groff, but good pressure from behind from Pleva.
Yeah, well done by Tyler David, knocking the ball back to his center backs, letting them start over. Going to want to see what Sebastian Dalgard and his role coming onto the field is going to be tonight. Preki deciding to go a little bit more offensive-minded, pulling Ali Hadzic out of the middle, sliding Dalgard in. Got to wonder if he's going to be assisting Valesky up top, maybe sliding into the 10 role, pushing outside.
You mentioned you liked him before the game. Why? What do you like about Dalgard's game?
I think he's got great vision. He's got good pace. Gets up and down the line very well. Not afraid to cut in. Pretty strong with both feet. But I think his vision is definitely one of the strong suits of his game. He's got no problem coming inside and outside, getting around players. He'll go 1v1. He definitely doesn't lack confidence, and he can play in really, really tight spaces.
Dalgard just made the touch to the right to Bierman before it gets recycled over to Stoikov. Guzman, a little heavy first touch, but stays on the ball, able to skip past Lee and then play it out to Sheldon. The right back's gonna lob it in, but cut out by Farrell. Good ball in by Sheldon, again deputizing for Wes Sharpie, who's out. The right back has played the most minutes on this team for St. Louis, out 2 to 4 weeks with an MCL sprain. Dalgard, Guzman, kind of right on top of each other and now pointing at each other.
Sheldon very capable as well. Little time overseas in Germany. 6th Division squad over there. Also playing for the OC Blues for a while. Again, difficult to lose a player with the caliber and quality of a Wes Sharpie due to that MCL sprain, but at the same point in time, Preki's definitely got a backlog of talent that he can slide someone else right in.
Bernardo Forbes back on the ball. As we mentioned in the first half, didn't really say his name through the first 30 minutes. Did a lot the last 15. Whoa, Gomez. A little flyby there. Very cool on the ball. The Mexican-born keeper.
Bernardo Forbes, his team's offensive player of the year in 2015. He really is a wonder on the ball. I mentioned his stint in the indoor. You'll see he's got really, really quick feet. Excellent vision. Likes to go 1v1. Does a good job in the middle of the field. And again, you said came to life towards the second part of that second half. I'd like to see that roll over here.
Of course, this Rochester team did win the USL title back in 2015. As Raymond Lee goes up and gets ahead to it. Ball finally comes down and Stoikov's able to get on it.
So you can see tactically, it looks like what St. Louis has done. Dalgard slid into a number 10 role, almost right behind Valesky. Ali Hadjit's taking a step out. And Tyler David stepping into the middle of the park into that holding midfielder role behind Stoikov. See if they continue that.
Ooh, a lot of contact there by Stoikov as he went in hard for the ball. Drusevic, referee, just a little talking to.
Stoikov, that tends to be his forte in some of these matches. You can see him coming in late.
Do you agree? No. As the ball's coming the other way here, come back to that. Valesky's on it.
That's a foul for sure.
Not just a foul. Is that a card?
Yeah, I was lobbying for a card up here for sure. Especially, you got to understand, folks at home, that it's not necessarily always the first offense. You start to instill yourself in that referee's mind. You're talking about 50 minutes in. That's a 5th or 6th foul that Stoikov's committed on the ball.
Lee plays it off his leg. A little bit of miscommunication with Felix, and Guzman's able to make the most of it, get the turnover, but Lee back on the ball. Groff able to keep it in play. Back to Forbes. To Frager. To Dover. Dover on the run. He's got space. Sheldon tries to cover him. Excuse me, Howell tries to cover him down, and that's looks like a little bit of a dive. Dover playing for the foul. Complaining, but not going to get it. He won't get that. You can get this, folks. Fans, stay up to date on the latest USL news and information from around the league. To into USL coast to coast with the one and only booming voice that is Mike Watts. Mondays at 9 p.m. Eastern on Sirius XM FC channel 85. Also, don't forget Sirius XM FC will air the USL Game of the Week. Plus, please check USLsoccer.com for dates and times. Is there anything Mike Watts does not know about the USL?
He does a good job. He's got really brings some scintillating stuff. He's pretty well versed on each and every team. Excuse me.
The guy's the guru, USL guru.
And he's definitely willing to share his opinion for sure. And it's an educated one at that, folks.
Yeah, we don't have many of that in sports media these days. Anyway, come back to that another time. Turgu on the ball. Turgu sprays it out wide, finding Dover on the overlap. Dover looking for the low-driven cross, but cut out by Howe. As we cross into the 52nd minute here at Toyota Stadium, Devin Kerr, former pro over in Europe and here in the States, alongside Dallin Cuff. 0-0 St. Louis and Rochester in the second half. This game was initially scheduled for May 6th, but rescheduled because of torrential downpour causing flooding in the St. Louis area and the facility here at Toyota Stadium. These two teams meet at a critical part in their season.
Yeah, game rescheduled, part of that nasty weather front in that time frame coming across the southeast United States, affecting a lot of sports at that time.
A lot of lives for that matter, too.
100%, absolutely.
DeFrager, a Dartmouth product, able to battle enough to draw a corner. A third of the match for the Rhinos. St. Louis has yet to take a corner kick in this match.
See Rochester. Interestingly, continuously going back to the right side of the field there.
And the outswinger, played deep. Felix gets his head on it. Still alive. Felix looking for another bite of the cherry. Groff gets it back into the middle. Still not cleared. Driven in by Dover. Just gives it a ride. Over the goal and out of play. Now, you see the official, Jurcevic, pointing to one of the players on the end line. We'll come back to that in a second.
Well, you see the ball bouncing around. Tyler David, a no-no, folks. All you kids at home and your defender, you do not want the ball in the center of the park when you're clearing it like that. Always to the side. Jordan Dover stepping up, trying to put his name in lights there.
Played long for Turgu. Turgu wheels around, floats it over to Forbes. Forbes still there, but Grinwis finally covers but can't hold it. Dover trying to play it across goal, but just boots it out of play.
You can see Bernardo Forbes coming out of the midfield there once again. Using that tall, lean frame. Very quick feet. Awesome job squeaking in that tight little space, bringing it down. Nice little touch. Grinwis recognizing his backline's in trouble, doing a good job. Shouting, my ball, good communication, coming out, making a nice save.
Good job by Howe to recover there and put Forbes off a bit. As Rochester seems to be growing into the game again. There was a player stretching this. Fall Wall was the leading scorer, tied for the leading scorer for Rochester. Is Gomez again working on the ball. He's got 4 goals. Jermaine Jones' cousin, actually, U.S. International and LA Galaxy player, dealing with injury issues this year. How long till you bring Fall Wall in, or do you bring him in this match?
Well, you got to wonder why he didn't get the start in the first place. Wonder if attrition come into play. Maybe a little bit of refs just needed. Sometimes some players just need that.
They did just play 4 days ago, and they had a 5.5-hour game essentially because of the rain delay to start the game, a rain delay at halftime. So that might play in it. It was a road game. Exactly,
and you got to wonder. Sometimes they just need that little extra break, but not a full 90. You want to make sure you keep someone match fit. And at the same point in time, you know, you mentioned at what point in time do you bring him in? I was kind of curious why they didn't make that change at half. You know, you didn't really have a boatload of sparks flying in the first half. Some offensive things just before midpoint, but you know, they've obviously got a different set of rules going on.
St. Louis had possession. That's kind of the story of the first half. Had a lot of possession there, but didn't really ever find a penetrating ball or a run. But big turnover by Guzman might lead to something else. Forbes able to get in there, and it takes a big hit from Dalgard. Play on, though. Turgu on it again. Drags it past Howe. Excuse me, Sheldon. Turgu looking for DeFrager. Leaves it a little short. He stops his run. DeFrager still on it. Wheels wide. Looking for Turgu. Forbes is on it. Forbes tries to get a shot off. Deflected out of bounds for the 4th corner coming up for the Rhinos. It seems these first 10 minutes they've put St. Louis on their heels a bit.
I was just going to say, you can see a lot of the St. Louis players kind of walking around, hands on the hips, very lackadaisical, tired. So there's a little mental fatigue going on. Got to stay sharp.
They also played a road game Saturday, and tons of heat in New York as Forbes now whips it in low, skips across. Farrell tries to settle it down. He's still on the ball. Center back trying to shield it from Valesky. Those two have been doing battle on the other end of the field all game. Now it on the opposite side, and in the end it was a foul on Farrell.
Yeah, picking your poison in the final third there. Christian Valesky deciding to go 1v1 inside of his own 18-yard box. Not really sure Precky's going to be too happy with that.
Again, this St. Louis team only made 4 changes coming into this match. They played at Red Bulls 2 on Saturday at Montclair State, and it was a hot game. Hydration breaks were instilled, hot and humid, and then they flew back to St. Louis to play this game just a couple days later, and not a ton of changes. We'll see if fatigue plays in. We already see a 1 sub as Groff is now on the ball. Running at Cochran. Overlap from Turgood. Looks the other way. Finds James. James sprays it out to the Frager. The Frager head up. Clips it in, looking for the back post, but just overhit it. Grinwis gets set for the goal kick, and we'll tell you about Metro PCS is the exclusive mobile network provider of St. Louis FC with over 75 St. Louis metro area locations. You can join the network that covers 99% of the people in the United States. Visit metropcs.com for additional information and the latest offers. Gruff clips Sheldon there, and that'll be St. Louis FC free kick. Nice pass by Pleva, penetrates the line. Dalgard lays it off for Bierman. Little 1-2 played. This could be an opportunity. St. Louis driven in ball from Howe and just easily corralled by Gomez in the end.
Yeah, much better from St. Louis. Playing a little give and go game down the sideline. Sebastian Dalgard, great vision, as I mentioned earlier. Nice little ball in. Howe's got to do a better job cutting that ball back to the penalty mark. Much better offensively from St. Louis, though.
Ball just booted deep by A.J. Cochran. Forbes pings it long right to Lee's foot. Good control to bring it down. Leona tries to skip by Sheldon, and he does. He's still on his left foot, and it was deflected. Grinwis goes out, but they do not keep it over the line. Another corner as the Rhinos continue to put pressure on St. Louis FC.
Yeah, Rochester isolating the right side of the field for the most part. In the opening 60 minutes, deciding to come down the left side with Raymond Lee. Very talented young man, good defender. Drafted in the 4th round in 2015 by Philadelphia. They got to make sure they incorporate him more into the play.
Driven in, but eventually bicycled out of danger, but not that far. Pitched back in and knocked down again. Stoikov's able now to play it up, and a little bit of a foot race with Valesky and Lee, and that'll be a foul on Lee, although he looks like he got a little worse for the wear.
Yeah, Christian Valesky very frustrated. There's that pace we talked about. You can see him knock the ball by the defender. He definitely got around him. Lee extends his arm out. Valesky maybe taking a little bit of frustration out on Raymond Lee, but Lee definitely in the wrongdoing to start off.
There's the yellow for a professional foul by Lee. He won't like it, but I think we all agree with the call there. But Valesky did win that race, and Lee initiated all contact to cut him off and stick the arm out.
And not necessarily the last defender, but definitely off to the races there. Created a good opportunity for St. Louis. Again, Jewin did a good job using that speed to his advantage. I think St. Louis has done a good job so far in the second half, utilizing the likes of Dalgard, moving in and out of the spaces, opening up opportunities like that for Valesky.
Guzman lofts it deep. Gomez goes up with the punch. Groff able to knock it out of play. Just a reminder, soccer fans, Nike is an official sponsor of the USL. For more information, visit NikeSoccer.com. David out wide to Guzman. Guzman dancing a bit. Trying to get past Lee, nothing doing. Felix plays it long, but Sheldon there to cut it out. Flava switches play to Howe. Howe tries to get around Dover, but he has help there from Pratzner. Pratzner will put it out to touch. Big shot by David, but Gomez was right there.
And Tyler David receiving the ball. Excellent first touch, taking a look up. Utilizing his body language, just cutting it back across, getting off a nice shot with his left foot. Tomas Gomez having none of it.
Frager with space. Sprays it wide for Dover. Dover trying to skip around, didn't work. A big tackle there by Pratzner. It's clean. Forbes back on the ball. Little 1-2 play, back to Forbes, he's got room. He drives it just past the post. Out of play it goes.
Once again, Bernardo Forbes stepping up, trying to be the man of the moment, working his way towards the man of the match. Look at this, nice little triangle play, bringing it into the box, going for the far post. Much better from Rochester offensively.
And a substitution is made. I said it earlier, I said it incorrectly. I apologize to him. Wall Fall comes into the game for DeFrager. Fall comes in as their leading scorer, and that substitution is brought to you by G&W Meats. G&W Meats brings you that substitution. Wall Fall inserted for DeFrager. Leading scorer on the Rhinos this year, 4 goals. Born in Frankfurt, Germany, played in Germany and Austria before coming to the USL. It's his second year with the Rhinos. Played in 23 games last year, 2 goals in those games, and has really developed into quite a player, as I mentioned before. Jermaine Jones, U.S. International, it is his cousin. Talented player on the outside. Here's Forbes, also a talented player, looking for the cross, over hits it, airmail, out of play.
And I think what you're going to see from Rochester, that might be their X factor. Nice little fuse to light up. Day after the 4th of July, get their fireworks going. Excellent player, he's great on the ball. Good foot skills, plays very well out of pressure. Nice tight little corners, and watch, he's got a nice big frame, 6'3". They love to push him up in the box, get him on the end of those set pieces. He's long, but he's lean, and he knows how to use that body. Does a good job.
Switch of play. To Sheldon, down to Guzman. Bierman tries to play out of tight space, goes off of Forbes, will remain St. Louis throw. Looking long, and that'll go right out of play. As we come to the 65th minute here at Toyota Stadium, St. Louis, Rochester 0-0. Devin Kerr, Dallin Cuff here for the call. It's been an interesting game. It's been a back-and-forth game. Who's had the better of the second half, in your opinion, at this point, Devin?
Yeah, I'd probably give the advantage to Rochester, to be honest. I've seen a little bit more offensively from St. Louis, but I think they've started to give some of that possession battle away to the Rhinos. You see them pushing down the field a little bit more. Sporadic in the first half, but definitely a lot more firepower coming at that back line of St. Louis in the second half.
Brought down nicely by Dalgard. Looking long for Guzman, but just too much on it. Gomez easily off his line. Scoop it up. Valesky tried to be the recipient there, but nothing doing. Dalgard comes down with the ball. He's got a little room. Taken out. no call there. And now they're looking to go the other way. Ooh, now taken out again. This time Sheldon clips Turgu hard, and Turgu's down on the pitch.
Got to wonder if there was a little bit of retribution at the end of that tackle.
Yeah, that seemed like it. And there was a yellow produced there for Sheldon, and there will also be a substitution here. We'll give you a first look here, or second look, I should say. But Turgu gets to it first and cleared out.
Yeah, Sheldon just trying to make his claim that he was holding his ground, just standing in the middle there. Unfortunately, you're going to have to move out of the way in a situation like that, especially when you don't have the ball. Nice little shift by Matt Spearman tonight.
And another substitution brought to you by G&W Meats. This time, Jose Angulo comes in for Mats Bierman. Angulo is tied for the team lead here with St. Louis. 4 goals on the season, tied with Christian Valesky. Talented player that's been all over the U.S. League since 2008. Came in with the Revs, played in the PDL for a bit. Harrisburg broke into the USL in 11, got a chance with the Red Bulls up in MLS in 2012. Actually played against Tottenham in a friendly. 13 with the Riverhounds, he was the league MVP. And here's a shot by Turgu from outside the 18, just wide. But we talked about players that make a difference. Wallfall, leading scorer, comes on for Rochester, and Angulo comes on, the former USL MVP, as that shot goes just wide.
Here Turgu, haven't called his name too much tonight. Coming up the pitch, sees Grinwis leaning towards one side of the goal, just tries to have a little rip to the side, unfortunately. But, you know, Angulo, we talked about, as you mentioned, the X factor and fall on the reverse side of things. It's could be the missing chess piece that St. Louis has been lacking. Again, Dalgard doing a good job coming in the second half, stepping up. I think he's been the reason they've been a little bit more offensive-minded, but watch for the trifecta with Angulo and Valesky now.
Here's James on the ball, though, skipping forward, looking wide for Turgu. He settles it. Plays it back to the top 18. Wall, good touch. James turns but slips. He's still on the ball, though. Turgu now has room. Low cross intercepted, though, but not cleared well, and the ball will stay in. Wall on it again. Tall frame, towering by, and Valesky, the forward, trips him up, and this is in a danger area just outside the 18.
I mentioned he's so good on the ball. He's so tall, and 6'3" in the center of the park. You don't run into that body type a lot, but you can see him holding his ground. Quick feet, trying to get around the defender, does a good job. Unfortunately, he did make contact. Valesky, right at the top of the box, cannot put his team in a situation like this.
Looks like Peter Crouch out there dancing around with height and length.
Watch him on these set pieces. He's lethal. He hits a great dead ball.
Fall and Forbes over it right now from this angle. Righty or lefty?
I mean, Forbes has definitely been hot so far in the second half, but Fall, one of the usual suspects to step up and hit this. Love to see the left footer go near post, but I think Fall with his right.
Forbes looks to walk away. It's all Fall. He tries to bend it through, gets right into the wall, and goes out for another corner. Their 6th of the match. Forbes looks to come short, making sure Stoikov gives the requisite length here, as now he goes to the corner and Turgu is short. Forbes with the in-swinger, comes in with heat, but Grinwis is out to get it. Grinwis plays it long. Knocked out by Lee. Turned over here, Stoikov. Oh, and there's actually an offsides called before. Ball is alive. Turgu coming up the left side. Crosses over Sheldon. He's got room. Looking across the pitch. Finding James. James steps in, gets on his left. Good job by Dalgard to close him down. Dover back to James. James looking to cut it back. Grinwis, he tried to almost get it right across the front of goal, maybe get it into goal from a tough angle. Grinwis knocks it out for a corner.
Ryan James trying to get in on the act now. Haven't called his name very much. Another one, but again, Rochester starting to utilize all their pieces at play.
James, a former 52nd pick back in the 2016 MLS draft by Sporting KC. It's actually a Toronto FC product. He's an Ontario native, as Forbes again looks for the corner with the outswinger this time. They can't get their head to it, but there's Fall on it again. He plays it out wide, looking for James. James just floats it, but he wandered off sides. And we have another substitution coming your way. Brought to you by G&W Meats. Substitution brought to you by G&W Meats. Tony Walls, he's coming on for Tyler David. Walls' first year here in St. Louis. He was a 47th pick back in supplemental draft by Chicago in MLS. Was a captain of the Rochester team back in 14 through 16, playing against his old mates. First year, though, here with Precky's crew. And there's Guzman, nice touch. Early ball played in, Valesky's there. Big save by Gomez. On the doorstep, and he got a foot to it.
Wow, St. Louis starting to push it to the limit here in the 72nd minute. What a ball played in. Nice little outswinger to Christian Valesky, got his foot on the end of it. Right place, right time, but credit to Tomas Gomez. It's a solid save.
Nice first touch by Dalgard to skip past the trouble. Just couldn't get it to Angulo and right over his foot. Now that we've got a moment to breathe, I'll tell you the USL is one of the most important, prominent second division professional leagues in the world, featuring some of the game's top talent and rising stars. Stay up to date with all the latest league news and information by visiting www.uslsoccer.com, and then follow them on Twitter @USL. At least 18 minutes left in this match, and it's been exciting in the second half here. Both teams putting together chances. Both teams bringing on their leading scorers, and Jose Angulo coming on for St. Louis, and Walt Fall coming on for Rochester. But other players have been involved making plays. Here's Valesky looking to bring it down long, can't do it. Fall on the ball. To James. Grove makes a run. Off his heel, but skips pleasantly right to him in his run still. He's able to cut back, get it back on his right, lays it off. Fall is there. He touches around. Big time save by Gridwis. He had the whole net. Didn't matter. Gridwis with a huge save.
Well, once again, I'm going to go ahead and throw his name in the hat for save of the week. He's got two tonight that could be definite candidates. Gruff doing a good job cutting the ball back. This is what you want to see right to the penalty mark. Fall. Absolutely amazing craftsmanship and great footwork, turning the ball around, trying to go far post, and Grinwis, once again, outstretched hands. Great save here in the 73rd minute.
Keeping it 0-0 as Forbes whips this one in, and Grinwis gets a touch to that. Third straight start for Grinwis, and he's feeling it. He's made a number of big saves to keep Rochester off the board.
He's barking a couple orders here at his boys, too. Doesn't want to have to do it all on his own. Like a little reciprocation on their end. Adam Grimwitz just continuously coming up big for his squad.
Forbes again, this time outswinger, floated in. They get their head on it, but there's Grinwis coming back to get on it. It looked like James was right there on the back post looking to pounce. Ball knocked out the touch. I'll tell you about Jed Transportation. For 50 years, Jed Transportation has delivered a perfect ride every time. Jed Transportation is the official transportation partner of St. Louis FC. Receive special fan offers when you mention the promo code STLFC. That's STLFC. As Rochester makes another sub, that's brought to you by G&W Meats. Bradley Kendemfeu is in the game, and Raymond Lee goes out. Camden Fayou's 11th appearance of the season for this Rochester squad.
Yeah, and I think Rochester is looking to go a little bit more direct and offensive with that defensive substitution. As a conundrum as it may be, it does make sense. It's a very offensive-minded defender. We talked about Joe Farrell and his capability coming out of the back. Camden, the same thing. Does a great job getting up and down the field. He's got excellent pace. Watch him on dead ball situations as well. Very big frame.
76th minute here. Devin Kerr, Dallin Cuff. It's been a wild last 10 minutes. Things have really opened up, chances on both ends. But Tomas Gomez, the keeper in front of you on your screen, and Adam Grimwis have come up huge in the critical moments.
Yeah, they definitely got both of them my vote for men of the match, keeping both their teams in it. Both teams got a nice little game of chess going on right now, moving the pieces around the park, substitutions here and there.
Turned over by Farrell, may lead to a chance. Valesky trying to touch it to Angulo, takes it himself. Angulo was asking for the ball. He did not make the pass, and the shot goes wide.
Yeah, Jose's going to be very frustrated with Christian in that situation. Valesky's such a good job using that big engine and motor of his, working hard for the ball, winning the turnover in the final third. He's tired. You got to stay composed in those situations. Listen to your boys around you. Lay the ball off. Don't have to do it all yourself.
Ball brought down by Canardo Forbes. Nice spin out of trouble. Stoikov, but then he loses his footing. Still Stoikov battling with Forbes. And there's a little trip by Dalgard. Wall plays it back. I'll tell you, fans, stay up to date on the latest USL news and information from around the league. Tune into USL Coast to Coast with Mike Watts, Mondays, 9 p.m. Eastern on SiriusXM FC Channel 85. Also, don't forget SiriusXM FC will air the USL Game of the Week. Please check USLsoccer.com for dates and times. Wall easily touches it down. Camden Fayou, heavy first touch by Wall, but able to, look at it, as you said, quick feet. Just able to quickly play it around to Sheldon and then draw the foul, which would, for most guys in this league and most leagues, be a turnover.
Yeah, it's funny with Wall, you'll watch him on the field. He almost looks like, as he's running and making his way around the park, that he's only going one speed. But
he's gliding.
He's gliding, exactly. And as soon as the ball hits his feet, you saw him shift into overdrive, very quick and crafty.
Nice run there made by James, but a little too much on it from Turgu on the pass. Turgu stays with it. Camden Fayou now. Camden Fayou looking a through ball for Forbes. Doesn't come off. Jurcevic says a foul was committed at midfield. St. Louis will take the kick. Guzman tries to turn on it and try to draw the foul. Didn't quite work out. As Ryan Felix now chases it down and just lets it roll out of bounds.
Yeah, good defending by Ryan Felix. You could see Angulo calling for the ball about 20 yards out there. St. Louis need to do a little bit better job moving that ball into space to him. Angulo's got great vision, not afraid to come back, receive it, turn, and distribute to other players.
Brecky working the fourth official to no avail.
Never.
Really doesn't work out that well, huh? Ball skipped on by Forbes. Forbes plays it back. Nice run by Dover. He has been active up and down that right side. But it skips off of him out of bounds. Now there's two balls in the field. Grim must track it down. See the urgency from the keeper. He knows they need some wins. Home game for St. Louis. Like to come away with 3. They've lost 4 straight, including the U.S. Open Cup game, 3 league games straight. Have not scored since June 2nd.
It's frustrating as a player, especially when you're putting in some good shifts too. I had the distinct pleasure of calling the U.S. Open Cup game, and St. Louis is doing a good job playing a very talented Chicago Fire team who's firing all cylinders.
One of the top teams in the East, but here's Forbes again, running. Grove makes a run. Turgu clips it back, but then Sheldon is there. Chicago Fire is firing on all cylinders, but they also lost to Cincinnati FC, who turned out 33,000 for that game, and now they have a chance in the quarters, playing at Miami, coming up here in the U.S. Open Cup to keep on marching. Rochester won the U.S. Open Cup back in '99 as they take the short corner. Turgu tries to just rifle it in there. Booted away, though. Back up to Forbes again. Working, trying to get back on his right foot. Little 1-2 play to just too much on it. And rolls out.
You can see Rochester trying to get cute. Nice little ball to the byline. Unfortunately, in the offside position, doing a good job not progressing to cause a lapse in play there. You know, Grinwis, you said earlier, having a couple words. 9-10 minutes to go. Got to keep pushing, got to keep pushing. You're tired, but both teams are in the same situation, coming off short rests. They need to use this home stretch as an advantage to themselves in the final 10 minutes.
Both teams played a road game on Saturday. They'll both play again on the 8th. St. Louis going to Charlotte. Rochester going to playing at home against Harrisburg.
As a player, you got to realize that too. You know, understand Stoikov, you know, dancing on the ball right now, knocking the ball to Tony Walls. Get it into Walls. Get it into Angulo. Use Dalgard. Use your subs. They've got fresher legs, and you're running against a team that's been up and down. I mean, it's turned into a little bit of a track meet here in the second half.
Walls clips it in, looking long. Camden Fayu comes down. Dalgard races into the ball, trying to maintain possession. Still on his Angulo. Tried to clip it by. He asked for a handball, as did you. Not given. Forbes, crafty on the rock. Sprays it out to Wall. Wall fall on the ball. Cuts it back to Forbes. Settles things down. Sprayed out wide to Forbes. First time cross, low. Out by Cochran.
Rochester just lacking that final precision here in the attacking end. It's not a bad idea with the ball going outside. Whoops!
Little nutmeg. And then no foul given there. Great job by James to create the space, if you will, or make the move out of the corner, but not rewarded by the officials.
You know, not a bad idea with Canardo Forbes, that combination play down on the side, but that ball's got to be quicker. It's got to be faster, more direct.
Little 1-2.
Give St. Louis a chance to recover.
Forbes still on it now. Tries to get it back to his left. Great tackle by Cochran. Soccer fans, quick reminder, Nike is the official sponsor of the USL. For more information, visit NikeSoccer.com. Pocket picked Ryan Howe. Groff looking for the ball. Tries to angle off Pleva, and he does. He's on it. Gets it on his right foot. Blasts it, but great sliding tackle by Cochran. Last-ditch effort, and then Pleva calm on the ball. Moves it out and boots it. There are bodies down in the box. There are bodies down in the middle of the pitch. This game is being played at quite a tempo right now. Officials trying to tell Jurcevic, the referee in the middle, to hold up a second. We got guys down.
Adam Grinwis once again coming up big for his squad all night long. Over and over and over again. There's Graff early on. The strike by Forbes, the upper 90. Grinwis with his outstretched hand doing a good job getting on the end of it. It's been kind of the theme of the night for the St. Louis team. Although lacking on the offensive time, on the offensive side of the ball, points in time, you can see Grinwis making save after save after save. And once again, don't forget to point out, as you mentioned, Conrad Pleva, what a cool, calm, collected customer, doing a great job in his defensive third, standing on the ball, being able to play it out after that great save by Grinwis.
And it was Cochran comes sliding in too. There were a lot of guys throwing their bodies in there trying to make a play to keep this thing knotted at 0. At least 5 minutes left in this game, and these last 25 have been rather chaotic at times. Chances created, but still we remain 0-0.
I'm sure Preki would be very delighted on the sideline, not only that Grinwis and his team coming up big, but one thing that he's been stressing over the conversations we've had week in and week out is that his team haven't been able to put in a full 90 shift. There are their small mental lapses that causes them to give up that early or late goal. Nice to see them not have that happen to him there.
Nice 1-2. Turgu trying to get on it. His touch was just a little too heavy. which allowed a clearance for St. Louis. And the final sub of the match, and the substitution brought to you by G&W Meats. Brandon Beresford comes into this game. Should be Jalen Brown is going to come into this game. Brown inserted in the game. Xavier product, 38th pick in this year's draft by NYC, FC, and MLS. This will be his 8th appearance. Ball flicked on by Groh. Turgu goes off. Jalen Brown on, just to reiterate that substitution brought to you by G&W Meats. All subs have been made now. These 11 men on each side will finish out this match. And just a reminder, after the whistle, head over to twitter.com/STLFC to vote for your Pleats Man of the Match. That's twitter.com/STLFC to vote for your Pleats Man of the Match. Ryan James on the ball, gliding forward. Big collision with Stoikov. Stoikov waves it off. Says the official, no, 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 but it seems like another easy call. He's been involved in a number of heavy challenges today.
Yeah, Jurasevich not opting to go for the yellow card in that situation. I'm shocked. Rochester pushing the pace. Stoikov using his entire body to slow play down there. Surprised the referee didn't go to his booklet there.
Stoikov looks like he's cramping a bit now.
It's the referee to feel sorry for him. He doesn't get booked. I know that move. I invented that move.
You invented that move?
Invented.
What are you, Costanza?
Invented,
I invented
perfective.
that move. Give me it's not you, it's me routine. Stoikov hopefully is okay as he stretches it out. Oh, he is cramping right now, struggling. Again, this is the second time they've played here in 4 nights, traveling back from Red Bulls 2. It's a hot, humid game. Hydration breaks in that match. Montclair State University in Jersey. He's trying to stretch it out.
Tonight he's been up and down the field all over, offensively and defensively. I'm sure the kilometers are ticking away on that odometer, and he's tired.
Forbes looks to play it in. Whips it towards the spot, but played out. Brown gets his first touch of the match. Trying to get end line, gets there, fresh legs. Still there, cuts it back. Wide open, and it's piked by Groff. Oh, he had nothing but room and a corner to aim for, but leaned back, and it sailed.
Wow, Brown getting down. We talked about his speed. What a great job cutting the ball back. Gruff sitting there, sipping a cup of tea. Plenty of time to have his way with the goal in any way, shape, and form, and not able to finish it off. He's going to be very upset with himself on that one.
And Matt Sheldon is down. He's struggling with that, and understandably so, Groff is, but so is Matt Sheldon. He went down on the side there as Jalen Brown skipped around him. He's up now, though.
Smart Jalen Brown using his fresh legs, getting around that defender. Closing minutes of the game. You're tired. All the tactics have been done. You got to dig deep in your heart if you really want it.
Tony Walls fights off Wall fall and plays it deep. A good header by Joe Farrell to cut it out. James back on it. Sprays it forward, but great job by Ryan Howe, excuse me. He battles on the side. Now we've 3 minutes of stoppage time. Stoppage time brought to you by Hot Shots. Be sure to visit one of the 12 fantastic local Hot Shots locations after the match. Stoppage time, 3 minutes, brought to you by Hot Shots. Ball flicked on. James on it again. Brown was in all types of space, but he played it way behind him, and Brown couldn't stop his run to get back on the ball. seemed like an opportunity, but back comes Dalgard. And STLFC the other way. Up to Angulo. Hasn't had many touches. Angulo cuts inside. Angulo reverses field. Hopefully his voice doesn't crack like mine just did. Back to Sheldon. And oh, that's a blatant foul on Guzman as he turned away from Camden Feo. Guzman not even looking for a card, just looking for the ball. He wants to make sure they can get it into play and keep this thing going. Here. Magic spray is out.
The stoppage time here. Bradley Camden making a terrible mistake on the defensive side of the ball. You cannot give up an opportunity at all, get alone this late in the game. Definitely a mental lapse. He's going to want to have that one back.
Big opportunity for St. Louis to get their big bodies forward. They have a number of players, whether it's Plava, Cochran, Valesky, big bodies who can get up. It is whipped in. Good ball in. Walls got up there and got his back on it. Got kind of turned in the air. Great service in a dangerous area. And Gomez wanted to play quick, but Cochran is down. Opportunity with the center backs, forward to maybe counter.
A.J. Cochran trying to use that big 6'3" frame coming up from the back, trying to get on the end of that ball in the closing moments here. Let's talk about that ball from Octavio Guzman. Swung in. Sweeping ball from right to left. Cochran coming up against Tomas, trying to win the header and just gets bridged a little bit, coming down hard on that right-hand side. That's going to leave a mark.
Undercut, he went down hard, but now we're back in play here. 3 minutes of stoppage time, minimum 3 minutes of stoppage time. We're 2.5 in. But we've had guys down, we've had free kick. We'll see if Jurasevich adds any time, the man in the middle. Forbes looking for the big switch. Plays it over to Brown. Brown using his fresh legs and quickness. That's a long touch, but nobody closes him down. Plays it out wide. Camden Feo all by himself, drags it across the net. And Gruff was making a run to the back post, but he was about a step late.
Bradley Camden with all the time in the world. Just poaching on the back post, took a quick look up. I thought he was going to try and get cute and go near post. Decides to pull it to the corner flag.
He's going to be thinking about that one tonight. We are past the minimum of 3 minutes. Ryan James on the ball. And Jurasevich has the whistle in his mouth. And somehow this game ends 0-0. Tons of chances. 0-0 is the final. Devin Kerr, your thoughts as this one rounds out?
Yeah, I'm shocked there's nothing up on the board. Second half turned into a nice little track meet. A lot more offensive firepower. We talked about what kind of changes would you make, what would you do differently. Both teams moving the pieces around. I'm sure Precky's going to be happy with his boys' performance. Unfortunately, not able